In this video, Kevin and I are going to be talking about the TV shows and movies that we watched during the month of September. So a lot of these are going to be repeats, things that we're continuing through. We're still working our way through. So, but I can tell you, the month started off, I had someone that said, I would love for you to watch the movie Penny Serenade. So I watched this one by myself. Kevin would have watched it, but it wouldn't have interested Kevin. It's from 1941, so it was black and white, and it was Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. And it says, a couple's big dreams give way to a life full of unforeseen sadness and unexpected joy. So Cary Grant and Irene Dunne, they meet at the beginning of the movie and they get together, and they struggle with things during their marriage that normal couples struggle with, and then it's just basically seeing how that plays out. I think my favorite part during that movie was there was a Christmas scene, and I love that. It had a lot of, there was a Christmas pageant, so it had these little kids on a stage singing, and that was my favorite part of it. But it was a movie that I had not seen before, and I always like a classic movie, so I enjoyed it. For me, it was a one-time watch, but I did enjoy it. We went to see Beetlejuice at the theater, thanks to Techno Squid. He had sent us some gift certificates for Christmas 2023, and we had not used them until, once I found out that movie was coming out, I pretty much knew. Yeah, and there's all these movies coming out. It's like, oh, that sounds good, but I can wait. You know, a lot of them you can wait for them, and Beetlejuice is one of those that I always, just when I heard about it, I thought that would be cool to see it in the theater. So Ashley and Kevin and I went together and saw it, and I will be completely honest with you, just like with the original movie, when I saw the original Beetlejuice back in 1988 or something, 88, 89, something like that, I thought, gosh, I hated that. I really hated it. But then I loved it, and once it settled in, I don't know why that's me with some things, it just is, to where I really didn't like it at first, but then I keep thinking about it and more and more and more, and it's like, I love that movie, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen the movie Beetlejuice because I love it so much. When I first left the movie theater, you know, we got in the car and we're talking, and how do you feel about it? What did I say?
Didn't like it. We'd never watch it again.
I said, that was terrible. I said, that was just terrible. Terrible. But then once I got away from it for a day or so, I thought, you know, there were a lot of things though that I really, really did like about it. It had some good music in it, and
some of it went on way too long.
I thought the people acting, I thought they did a good job. Michael Keaton was in it again. Winona Ryder was in it again. Catherine O'Hara was in it again. The thing I think that disappointed me about it, that disappoints me, is that Beetlejuice, the original, was a movie that could be shown to, in my opinion, kids of all ages. Now, some people would say, oh my gosh, you couldn't show that to a little kid because it would freak them out. Yeah, it probably would. This movie, though, really, I think it's PG-13. I really do think they put some things in there that little kids have no business seeing.
Yeah, probably shouldn't.
Like the way, if you've seen it, you're wondering what I'm talking about. The way that they chose to do, is his name Charles? Charles's character. It would be Catherine O'Hara's husband, Charles Dietz. The way that they chose to show him throughout the movie it's gross, and I don't think that would be appropriate for really little kids. Yeah, it's
kind of gross.
And it's like they're showing it constantly, I feel like. And
they did show it a bunch.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's gross every time you see it. But then there were other things that I thought they did a really good job on.
Well, they tried to do, like the first movie had Deo, which that was their signature song, and they did a really good job of starting it and they ended it, and they didn't make it drag on and on and on. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about in the new one. There's a scene towards the end of the movie. I don't want to say where it's at.
Yeah.
But the song, they could have done like 30 seconds of the song, or maybe even a minute at the most. It seemed to go on for like 8 minutes long. It probably didn't, but it seemed to go on forever. And it's like they're trying to play on that stick, that trying to hook you into it. And it just wasn't too long.
If you've seen the first one enough times, there are very clear things that they use in the first one that make it popular. They took those same elements from that movie and tried to include them in this movie.
Yeah.
So,
and that one just didn't work as well. The music.
So, would I watch it again? When I left, I said no, I would not. Now that I've stepped away from it, I think yes, I would watch it again. I wouldn't necessarily pay to see it in the theater again because I've already seen it once in the theater. I've had that experience.
Did you have to watch it in the theater? No.
No, you definitely don't have to watch it in the theater. But would I watch it like if it came out and Ashley wanted to watch it again? Would I watch it again with her? Yes, I would.
Or if the grandkids wanted to watch it?
I
can't imagine.
I wouldn't want to watch it with like Evie's, our little one. She's 5. I wouldn't want her to see some of that stuff. I just think the way they did Charles is graphic and for a little 5-year-old princess. I mean, why would you want to put something that's that horrific in her mind? I just wouldn't want to do that. Yeah. So I would not want to watch that.
I mean, the first one had some pretty gross death.
It did, when they're hanging, they pull their faces off and stuff. But it was done in more of a comical, cartoony kind of way, like a Roger Rabbit kind of. I don't know. And then this one was just gross. I thought certain parts of it.
I thought it was okay when I left, and I think it's okay now. I didn't have a real change of opinion. It's worth watching once if you like the original.
Yes,
that's what I'll say.
But I still like the original more.
Oh yeah. I said that at the time too.
Okay, so then we watched together a show called The Perfect Couple. It's 2024.
I think everybody's watching.
I think so too. It's a 6-part Netflix miniseries. And it says, when one lavish wedding ends in disaster before it can even begin, with a body discovered in Nantucket Harbor just hours before the ceremony, everyone in the wedding party is suddenly a suspect. So...
It's a murder mystery.
It's a murder mystery. And the scenery, the house, is, for me, what made it worth watching. The story was very, it's been done, I feel like, again and again and again. I don't think the storyline is anything new.
No, it was pretty predictable, too. I mean, you kind of had a pretty good idea, especially down to the last 2 episodes. You kind of knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
He did it.
But the house itself is gorgeous and the scenery, and it reminded me, it was Nantucket, but it reminded me of a lot of what I've seen of like the Hamptons, and it's just a beautiful area. And so for me, that kept me watching it more than the storyline, because the storyline was I just feel like I've seen it so many times before. And honestly, I love Nicole Kidman, and I've said this before, but she has changed herself so much that it's almost distracting. When she's on camera, it's like it's almost like it takes away, because it's like she just doesn't look like a person,
like a real person.
Yeah. She doesn't.
It's almost like she's got a filter on or something.
Yeah, like there's a constant filter over her face. That's what I feel like I'm looking through, because she's had so much stuff done, and so it's like I would rather watch things with real people who haven't had so much stuff done. But would I recommend that? If you like pretty scenery, to me the story was kind of...
It was okay.
If you don't have Netflix, deep.
If you don't have Netflix, don't feel like you're missing anything.
I don't think so. Now my sister raved about it. She thought it was something.
Yeah. We've seen so many of those murder mystery kind of shows.
Yeah, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as well written as other ones.
No, and it's all that same formula where, okay, the event happened in the first one, then they go down one little rabbit hole in the next episode, then they go down a different rabbit hole in the next episode. So they always have somebody that you think is going to be the victim. Of course, once they attach to someone in an episode, you know that person's not going to be it.
Right.
Because you won't find out to the end who it actually is. So if they accuse someone in an episode, you can automatically go, well, that's not him.
That won't be the person.
That person didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those typical formulas.
So it was okay. I mean, the writing wasn't the best. It was okay. Yeah. It was only 6 parts, so that's good.
Yeah.
Then I watched a movie. Techno Squid had recommended this movie to me. It's called Thelma. And he got me to watch, which I still want Kevin to watch it with me. I will watch it again with Kevin. It's called Nebraska. And it is such a good movie. What is his name? It's Laura Dern's dad. Bruce Dern, maybe? Anyway, he's in it. Such a good movie. Well, he recommended this movie, Thelma, to me because one of the people that played in Nebraska was, her name is June. Yeah, June Squibb. Well, she plays in Thelma, and it says, when 93-year-old Thelma Post gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson, she sets out on a treacherous quest across the city to reclaim what was taken from her. So it's literally, I mean, this is like true. This is like happening all the time to people. These phone scammers will call you, and like if they called me and they would pretend to be Ashley's voice and be like, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm in jail or I've been in a car wreck and you need to send me money right now or they're going to keep me or blah, blah, blah is going to happen. Well, that's what happens in this movie. And
if that happens, do you ask for the phone number? Give me the phone number so I can call back.
Well, I tell you what, our family has a code word. Yeah. Our family has a code word, and I would ask for that. I would say, what is the code word?
Yeah, they all know it. Well, I don't know if the grandkids know it, but our kids know it.
But Andrew and Ashley both know the code word. We know the code word. So if the person on the other end of the phone could not give me the code word, I would know it was a scam. But in this movie, she believes it's her grandson and she falls for it. And so she's they take all this money. And so she is going after the bad guys, basically. It reminded me of The Beekeeper. Was that the name of it? The Beekeeper, where Felicia Rashad in the very beginning.
Money, so of course it's more of an action.
It's an action movie. So like this is, instead of being an action movie, this is with an elderly person. But it's good that I think if you are elderly, even if you're not, you should be paying attention to these scams that are going on with people because you just never know.
They're good.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. Then I watched Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story.
Yeah, it's like season 2 of Monsters.
Right, so I didn't know when that Dahmer came out, which I did not watch, do not plan on watching. I could not handle it. I would not want to watch that. I didn't realize that was Monsters, and then that was just the season 1 was about Jeffrey Dahmer. So season 2 was about Lyle and Eric Menendez. And if you don't know, Lyle and Eric Menendez, it's a very, very wealthy family. And the 2 brothers shot and killed their mom and dad. And they are in prison today. They're still in prison right now. And so this is the story about that. I thought they did a good job. I thought it was interesting.
I saw pieces of it. Looked like it was acting. I mean, good acting in it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were times. Sometimes were better than others.
Right.
The acting in it, but I enjoyed it, and it had that. Is it Chloe Savicki? Is that her name from Big Love? Mm-hmm. She's been in all kinds of stuff, but she played the mother. I think that's her name anyway. But I thought that was a good, and it wasn't that many episodes. And then we watched together. We watched Celebrity Race Across the World. So this is like, you explain it because I've been doing all the talking.
It's similar to Amazing Race a little bit, but it's different a lot too. So it's in common is they're racing across a country. That's what they have in common, and their teams are racing against each other. The big difference is the race across the world is they start in one area and they're given enough money of what it would take to fly from where they're starting to where they're going to end. That's all the money they're given through the whole trip, and they have to figure out how to get on land from that place to various checkpoints throughout to get to that final destination. And I mean, they all do it differently. You know, some of them will go on buses overnight. Some of them will get taxis and they'll get cars. I mean,
you
trains.
can spend that money how you want.
Whatever way you want, and whichever way you want. Like some might go across the country and go down. Other ones might go straight down. You know, it's just.
But they don't have their phones.
They don't have any phones.
They have
to
maps.
Depend on other people to look stuff up for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the teams, there were 4 teams.
It's a good show if you like those kind of race, The Amazing Race. There's no competitions though.
No.
Amazing Race has a lot of like contests and stuff like that.
So somebody has said in the comments before, oh, you and Kevin should do the Amazing Race. We couldn't do the Amazing Race because I'm deathly afraid of heights, and neither one of us have the best memories. And
That'd be horrible.
You have to be able to memorize things.
Dancing.
They have
singing.
Yeah, they have all kinds of competitions. This show, the Race Across the World, I told Kevin I could do this show. Yeah. I could definitely do this show because there's not any competitions going on. You're literally getting from point A to point B.
Yeah,
you're finding out places that you need to go get a job to make you some more money while you're there, where you're going to spend the night. Mm-hmm. And we could absolutely do this, but we're not celebrities. Yeah. So that is something we could do. And they were in...
well, they have Race Across the World. It's not celebrities too, so...
This, what was this, like the second season?
Second celebrity one, yeah.
Yeah, and they were in South America. Mm-hmm. And it's just...
They started at the Amazon.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It is really beautiful.
And it's got every kind of terrain you could think of. Went from snowy to desert to
just
jungle,
absolutely
just everything down there.
Stunning.
Yeah. Brazil, Chile.
Yes, and there's just there's so many places, so many things to see, and for them to get to visit all these places on the way, it's incredible. But there were 4 teams. And so some people might recognize the name Kelly Brook. She is a broadcaster in the UK. She and her husband were on there. And then you had Scott Mills and his husband. He's a Radio 2 host. And then you have Jeff Brazier. Is that how you say his name? Him and his son. He's a broadcaster, and his son. And his son was actually Jade Goody, and she was a contestant on Big Brother UK back in 2002. His wife. The son's. I meant the son's mother. Freddie. It's Freddie. He's 19 years old, so it was his mother was Jade, and she was on Big Brother UK. So anyway, they were a good team. And then you have Cola. Is that how you say? Cola? It might be Cola. But he played Isaac in Ted Lasso. And so he was in there with his cousin. And he said he was from Peckham.
Peckham, yeah.
Yes, which is where
but his mom was Irish and his dad was Nigerian.
Yeah. And they live in Peckham, which is where Only Fools and Horses is Peckham. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, it was so fun watching the season. We watched an episode every single night. Yeah, it's not a very long show, but it's wonderful. And then we're still making our way through Malcolm in the Middle. We're on season 6 of 7.
So we just started it, though.
We just started it. Shameless, we are on season 7.
Pretty much just started too.
We did. And I tell you something, I won't give anything away. But just if you've watched Shameless.
The American version.
The American version, not the UK version. Because I'm going to watch that one after this one. But I really liked Fiona. At the beginning of the show, when the show first started out, I really liked her. Season 7 that we're on now, I don't like her much.
You started not liking her in season 6, really.
Yeah, we're season 6. You really don't like her, and right now, I really don't like her. I don't like her.
I think they've written her a different way. That's for sure.
I hope that I hope she changes, because right now I do not care for her character at all, and so many of them have gone through changes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The only one that stayed the same is Frank. You still love to hate him.
He's horrible. He's horrible from start to finish. Yeah. He's horrible.
He's never gotten any better.
No. So
he's escalated, but he hasn't gotten any. He's gotten actually worse, if anything.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Shameless is one of those shows where we've said before, it is not for children. It is an adult only.
Language scenes, situations.
Mature adults only, because they show things. I do respect them for stuff that they show in the show, because they put things in this show that other shows would be afraid to put in there. For example, I'll give you one example. Somebody on the show has given birth to a child. She's so tired because this kid isn't sleeping. She's so tired that the kid falls out of her lap onto the floor, and you hear the kid, I mean, it's a baby. It's literally a newborn baby. You hear the newborn baby hit the floor and start crying. Most shows would not do that. They would not do that. That would be like adult situations. And I agree, this is an adult situation, but I'm saying I really respect them for putting
realistic situations.
Language.
The baby was fine, by the way.
The baby was fine. Language, just the speech, the way people talk.
It's like they would talk in the area.
Yes, and I really like that. I like that it's a realistic show like that. Okay, then we are still watching Lost. Thank goodness we're on the last season.
We just started too.
We just started
all these.
Season 6 of Lost.
Yeah, Tammy was done last season.
Yes, I'm ready for it to be over. I really liked Lost for probably the first 4 seasons.
3 for sure.
3
Fourth
for sure.
was a little shaky.
Yeah. And then
it went off the rails.
It went off the rails, and now I'm only watching it so that I can say I watched the whole thing. And I would like to know how they ended. I would like to know how they ended. Yeah, I would like some questions answered. But I'm tired of it. I don't like what they've done with it. I think it's gone to crap.
They've really went to the extreme sci-fi kind of unbelievable part. I mean, it was always kind of sci-fi, but it's like you can at least kind of see, okay, I can kind of believe it. Yeah, you can
pretend a little bit. And I told Kevin, I said, you did not tell me that this was a Stephen King, because he knows what I mean by that.
There's a lot of Stephen King books that do that too.
Yeah, I like a Stephen King book that's realistic, that could really happen from the beginning to the end.
Even if it involves some kind of power or whatever.
Right, like The Shining. The Shining, from beginning to end, that could happen. You could go stay in a place and you could go crazy being isolated like that. That could really happen.
It was really a ghost story, though.
Well, but this Lost is just like, it's like totally, he jumped the shark. Fonzie jumped the shark. They brought in Cousin Oliver like the Brady Bunch. You know, that's what Lost has done for me, and I'm just ready for it to be done. So, I watched by myself. Kevin heard some of it. He couldn't help it because I had it up so loud.
You had it pretty loud.
Well, I was on the treadmill, so I'm walking on the treadmill, so I had to have the volume up a little bit. But I watched Mississippi Burning. It's from 1988. I had never seen it before. It's on the Roku channel, but I think you can watch it a couple of places. 2 FBI agents with wildly different styles arrive in Mississippi to investigate the disappearance of some civil rights activists. So the 2 FBI agents are played by Gene Hackman and William Dafoe. And what they say is true, that Gene Hackman deals with things in one way and William Dafoe deals with things in another way. But at the very beginning of the movie, this movie is all about people being racist.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Racial issues in the South, basically.
Yes, and it just ticks me off. It just gets me started, and I go on.
You listen to this stuff, which really did happen this way. You listen to it and you think, how in the world could any sane person think and feel like that and say these things? It's just, it's like, it blows your mind.
Yes, it's just
especially
like
now.
Craziness. Now
thinking back, of course, in that time, and even before that, that was pretty common way of people thinking. I mean, it was like.
Which is shocking. It does not paint Mississippi in a good light at all. Yeah. Now, I know this movie's from '88, but it's supposed to take place way before that. But still, it's supposed to.
Well, they were talking about Martin Luther King and stuff. So
yeah,
it had to be,
it was in the '60s. Yeah. It's when it took place. But it just, from the very beginning of the movie, it just ticks you off. Because a black guy and 2 Jewish guys get killed in the very beginning of the movie, so I'm not giving anything away. And it's all about race, and so I would not recommend. This is definitely not for children, and if you don't want to get mad, then don't watch it. I started watching it, and I was in, like, I had just started, and I knew it wasn't going good right at the get-go, and I thought, why am I watching this? Why in the world am I watching
your
this?
blood pressure
Because I know it's going to just tick me off. But the reason I watched it is because I heard some people talking about it on the radio, and I thought, well, I'll watch it.
If you want to get a good look into how it was, then
horrible, absolutely, just mind-blowing, horrible. I can't even get started because it just ticks me off. Okay, so then season 47 of Survivor started, and it's like every season of Survivor.
They don't change the formula for that one either, really. But it's always different people and the way they interact. So
it's and so we're enjoying it so far. As the time of this filming, we watched two episodes. 2 episodes, and so it's been good. The Great British Bake Off.
There's 2 of those.
The Great.
Just one.
Yeah, just one of those have been on. But the Great British Bake Off, they made one of the first things they had to make was Battenbergs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had to make one of those. What do you call
hyper realistic?
Yeah, and what's the show?
Supposed to be. There's one called like Is It
Cake?
Yeah.
We've never seen that. But they had to basically do one of the hyper realistic in cake form.
Yeah.
And
so people were making shoes and jeans and.
But this girl, I wrote her name down. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's Sumaya, and she's a dentistry student of all things, and she made this duck.
Her pet duck.
She has a pet duck. It was beautiful.
It looked just like a duck.
She did a wonderful job. Wonderful. But the other people that stood out to me on the first episode, I like John. He works for the NHS, and it's amazing what these people do because they're on the Great British Bake Off, But he works for the NHS doing scheduling and stuff like that. He's the one with the curly hair and the piercing blue eyes. I like him a lot. I also like Andy. Andy's a car mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I like him a lot. But my favorite person right now, her name is Nellie. And she grew up in Slovakia.
Oh.
She's hilarious. She has a hilarious personality. And she has this thick accent. And it's wonderful.
She laughs all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love hearing her talk. I love hearing her laugh. She just has a big, bold personality, and I love that. I hope she stays on there for a while, because I think she's really good. I watched The Life and Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. That was like a 4-part mini-series, and it was exactly what you think. It was about the OJ trial, and it was mainly about Nicole, though, and her growing up, and it's amazing to me that people are still so divided after all this time on, do you think he did it, or do you think he did not do it?
We'll never know 100%.
Right, and it just amazes me that you don't know. you might be talking to somebody and think they feel one way, and you don't know how they feel. They might think, oh yes, he did do it, or oh no, he didn't do it. You just never know how people feel about it. So I thought that was a good miniseries. And then we just started watching Race to Survive is the name of the show. And so the second season of Race to Survive, they are in New Zealand.
They were in Alaska the first time.
And explain that.
It's this is more of like extreme racing. It's not like the Amazing Race or even the Celebrity Race Across the World. This is more extreme. Like,
well, they called them something. They described them as like extreme athletes or something.
Yeah, something like that. So these are people that do like
elite athletes, something like that.
They'll have people that hike for like 100 miles or run marathons,
long distance runners.
So it's people that do extreme sports, not just
the rock climbing
and all that stuff. So what these people are doing are they got dropped off in New Zealand at this riverbank, and they have a map. They're given a map. That's all they're given is a map and a compass. And I'm assuming they bring a compass. They don't give it to them. They give them a map. That's all they give them. They don't give them any food or anything.
No food.
They have to. You can bring your equipment, of course, and they have to traverse the land to get to a checkpoint at the end. The first leg had 4 zones. And it was like marsh, and then it was like rocky, like climbing, and then it was like icy waters. I don't know, like rapids or something like that. So they had to go through these different areas, but they're racing. There's 9 teams total, wasn't there? I think there's 9.
I don't know.
I think they started with 9 teams. So at the end of each leg, basically, the last person gets eliminated. They go home. So it's pretty extreme.
This is on
racing.
On Peacock.
Yeah.
But yeah, these people.
Pretty cool.
This is like the people that you get on Survivor. For the most part, it's
people.
just like me and Kevin. You know, you think it would be cool to go be on Survivor, so you do it. These people, the difference is
they train for this.
This is part of their life.
Yeah.
Like they live the life. They're constantly. They want to be the outdoorsy people and the adventure seeking people.
There was like whitewater rapids guides and all kinds of people.
What are the people called that drop out of the planes?
Oh, skydivers, but they were like firefighters.
They were
smoke divers. Is that what they call them?
Yeah, they called them
something like that, where they actually literally parachute out of planes into forest to have fires and fight fires.
Yeah.
Because they can't get to the fires any other way, so they literally parachute in.
Yes.
It's crazy. I never even heard of such a thing.
No.
And it's like,
and
wow.
then you have the father and son-in-law.
They're hunters.
They're hunters, ranchers. They're like real life cowboys.
Yeah, but it's funny though. They were. I'm not gonna say what place they came into. Let's just say they did really well competing against these professional hikers and whitewater rapids people. They did really good.
I don't think that cowboy way of life is easy.
No, you weren't. I wouldn't want to do it. That's for sure.
Oh, I would never choose that.
It's also funny how kind of like Race Across the World, you can kind of get there the way you want to. You can't take a shortcut, but you have to travel through the zones. But there's nobody telling you have to walk across this path exactly. You can take it whatever way you want.
That's what I like about it. Is it's very real.
Yeah, but there's people. There'll be a group that may be 8 miles ahead of the back group. So they get there like a day and a half before the group behind. Now, but the good thing is, we think it's good. They make them stop at base camp, and everybody stops at that end of that leg. They all stop and they have to sit until everybody gets there. So that 1, 2 or 3 teams is not running the whole race the whole time, because they're just going to get further and further and further ahead, and nobody would ever have a chance of catching them. So I like it that they stop at the base camp at the end of the leg. It's funny too, though. They may get there and like that one team was there for like a day and a half before the last team showed up, and they're just sitting there waiting for them to show up.
But they get time to relax.
They get time to get food. They're trying to find grub worms and fish and eggs and whatever they can find.
Yeah.
I was going to say scrounging for food. That's a wrong word. Not scrounging. But anyway.
Scourging.
No, that's not it either.
No.
anyway. They're looking for food.
Scavenging.
They're scavenging for food during the whole time. Whereas the team that's coming in last, they don't have that advantage because they're not going to be there as long.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool show if you like more of a adventuresome kind of real life, like extreme sport thing. It's cool.
So those are the shows and movies we've watched. We are collecting, though, certain shows. We haven't started them. So we're collecting, what is it called? Wild Horses?
Yeah, Wild Horses.
We're collecting those.
Slow Horses.
Slow horses.
Yeah.
We're collecting slow
too.
Horses. We're also collecting Pachinko.
Yeah.
Because Pachinko is one of those that I want to binge. I want to binge it. I don't want to have to wait for week to week for it to come out. I like to at least watch one every night, sometimes 2 a night, because I like it so much. If it's as good as it has been before, I'm going to want to watch it all.
Plus, we're kind of waiting till some of these are on, like they're pretty close to the last season of the ones we're currently watching.
Yes.
So by the time those get done, those other ones will be finished up or mostly finished up. So then we can start something else.
Yeah, like Lost. We can completely
because we can't watch TV. We don't watch TV all day long. It seems like we do, but we don't.
We don't. I know. So we can like completely get rid of Lost, and then that's a whole
block.
hour show that we can devote to something else. Yeah. So, and I say that every month. That's why we haven't picked up a lot of new things. I'm lucky to watch the things that we did that we did watch. So, as always, if you have any suggestions, please put them down. Some things that you all have recommended, I may have them and be waiting to watch them because we have a lot of shows like I just said that we're collecting.
We put them on our wish list.
Yeah, so we have them. We just haven't started them because we just haven't had a chance to start them. Because it's nice to get done. Because what would happen if we didn't watch an episode of Lost every night is we would just quit watching it and we would never finish it. That's what would happen. And I definitely want to finish it. So we just have to wait till we get finished with some things. But other people look at your comments. So I would love your suggestions, love to hear what you have to say. And if you have any thoughts on any of the shows we talked about, then let us know what you thought. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.